You should know how to craft and use advanced resources in Astroneer. I'll show you all of that as well as the best strategies to get each of them, so let's get into it. How to craft advanced resources. First of all, you're gonna need the chemistry lab. In order to unlock this, you're gonna need 1600 bytes, and to craft it you will need tungsten, glass and ceramic. If you've just started the game and are on Silva, you won't find tungsten laying around, so you might want to use a trade platform or you might want to go to another planet to get it. By the way, you will find it on the Solo and Calidor in the form of wolframite, which you will need to smelt. Anyways, once you've got your chemistry lab going, then you can start crafting advanced resources. These are also called composite resources, and here they are. Rubber requires organic and resin to craft, plastic requires compound and carbon, aluminum alloy requires aluminum and copper, for tungsten carbide you'll need carbon and tungsten, for graphene you'll need graphite and hydrogen, diamond requires 2 graphene, hydrogen requires 2 ammonium and 1 hydrogen, silicone is 1 resin, 1 quartz and 1 methane, explosive powder is 2 carbon and 1 sulfur, and then we get into the big three. Steel is carbon, iron and argon, titanium alloy is titanium, graphene and nitrogen, and nanocarbon alloy is steel, titanium alloy and helium. Now don't worry, you don't have to remember any of these, you will see the schematics in the chemistry lab, but I just want to tell you exactly how to use them and how to get all of the resources for each of them, also noting the best way to do it. Now let's get to the second thing, how to use advanced resources. For example, rubber can be used for large rovers, auto extractors and a ton of other things you can see on screen right now. Plastic is used in medium canisters, atmospheric condensers, shelters and a lot more. You'll be able to use aluminum alloy for the paver, large rover, large and extra large wind turbines and solar panels, and a lot of other items. Tungsten carbide is used for the VTOL, auto extractor, extra large shredder and others. Graphene is a resource in the field shelter, the diamond recipe, the titanium alloy recipe, and also some power items. You can use diamonds to craft the drill mod 3 as well as the drill strength 3. Hydrazine is not only used for fuel in shuttles but also in the recipe for graphene. You can use silicone for the paver, crane, medium gas canister, shelter and others. Explosive powder is the main ingredient in dynamite and fireworks. You'll need steel for the XL shredder, nanocarbon alloy, probe scanner and a lot of other things. With titanium alloy you can craft the large shuttle, the nanocarbon alloy, the hydrazine jetpack and some other items. And then with nanocarbon alloy you can craft the portable oxygenator, the RTG and the large resource canister. Again, you don't have to remember all of that, just know that some of these resources are really important for specific purposes, so make sure to get those. And as you've seen, some of them are used in the recipe for some other composite resources. So in order to craft the more advanced ones like nanocarbon alloy, you'll need to craft the ones below it. Now let's talk about the best strategies for advanced resources. For the rubber, I suggest using the auto extractor or the soil centrifuge to get the resin, and then the tapper for the organic. This should allow you to get a ton of rubber very fast, and you can also automate this process. For plastic, I would use an auto extractor or a soil centrifuge for the compound, and then a tapper and a smelter for the carbon. Again, you can get all of this automated with just a couple auto arms. The aluminum alloy is pretty easy, you can just use auto extractors and smelters for both aluminum and copper, or if you don't want to do that, just use the trade platform for both of them. The tungsten carbide is pretty similar, just use tappers and a smelter for the carbon and then an auto extractor or a trade platform for the tungsten. For graphene you're gonna need the soil centrifuge or the trade platform to get the graphite. Of course you can also use an auto extractor for this, and then you can use the trade platform for hydrazine. This will require Astroneer however, so if you don't want that, then you can just craft the hydrazine, but we'll discuss that in a bit. Next up, for diamond you will need 2 graphene, and we just talked about graphene, so I would just suggest using the trade platform to get the graphite and the hydrazine. It will take a ton of resources, but you don't really need that many diamonds anyway. Now for the hydrazine, you can use the trade platform or an auto extractor to get ammonium, and then the atmospheric condenser to get the hydrogen. Also, you can only get hydrogen on Silva, Calidor, Vesania or Novus, so make sure you've got your atmospheric condenser on one of these planets. Then for silicone, you can use an auto extractor or soil centrifuge for the resin, and the same thing goes for quartz. Then you'll also need an atmospheric condenser to get methane, which can be found on Novus and Atrox. For the explosive powder you'll need tappers and smelters to get 2 carbon, and then the atmospheric condenser to get a sulfur, which you can find on Calidor and Atrox. Again, all of these can be easily automated. Next up we've got steel. Use a tapper and a smelter to get the carbon, and an auto extractor or trade platform to get the iron. Then you're also gonna need an atmospheric condenser for the argon, which is found on Vesania and Glacio. Titanium alloy. Use an auto extractor or trade platform for the titanium and a soil centrifuge and trade platform for the graphene, as we talked about earlier. And then you'll also need an atmospheric condenser to get the nitrogen, and this one's found on Silva, Vesania and Atrox. Now the big one, nanocarbon alloy. For this you're gonna have to use auto extractors, trade platforms, steppers, soil centrifuges, atmospheric condensers to get the steel and the titanium alloy, which we talked about earlier. Once you have both of these really expensive resources, you will also need another atmospheric condenser to get helium, and this one can only be found on Atrox, so good luck with that. But these are the easiest way I've found to get a ton of each of these resources, and now I'm thinking I should build a huge automated farm that can get you one of each. Please let me know in the comment section below if you would like to see that video next, and in the meantime make sure to check out the tutorials playlist on screen right now. Or hey, you can also go watch this other video next. Whichever one you choose, I'll see you there. Cheers, Astroneers!